Hey everybody, it's Rabbi Shmuel Pollan. I hope you're doing well. This is a video about the law and Judaism. And if anyone would like me to go on their podcast, I would love to speak about this on your podcast and or whatever kind of YouTube channel you have or Twitter you have. I would love to be on your social media and share this with your audience because it's very, very interesting. And people don't know that much about Judaism, and I think people would like to know more. And I'm coming from this position as a rabbi, and I'm just going to introduce you into Judaism as a quick primer. Judaism is an absolute set of values and rules that are eternal. That means they never change. So no matter how much society may change, Judaism never changes. It's simply, if it changes, it's simply not Judaism. Now, how could that be? Only explanation is because it's a code given by the creator of the world, an infinite creator, an omniscient creator. He revealed the Ten Commandments, which includes all the commandments, on Mount Sinai in front of 3 million people on a date that we know, the Sabbath of the 6th of Sivan in 1313 BCE. It was the largest revelation of anything in this world, and you'd be hard pressed to find any event witnessed by 3 million people all at the same time. And in this case, they claimed that they saw God, and there really wasn't much disagreement about it. Everybody sort of was convinced that what they saw was God, and it's in every Jewish person's family as a tradition that we repeat over and over that this actually happened, that God actually revealed himself and gave us the Ten Commandments. And so the Ten Commandments are the place to start. That's the place where we're going to find our clarity for what our code should be like. And then the rest of the Torah is giving us the rest of the ideas and laws that we need to know in order to have a flourishing, functioning, safe, and peaceful society. So the first issue that we must address is Judaism right wing or left wing? Judaism is based on the Bible, and the secrets of the Bible are known as the Kabbalah. And Hasidic Jews study the Kabbalah, regular Jews do not. In Hasidic philosophy, it is taught that every single issue has a right and a left and an essence that is above them both. The essence is independent of them both, but it does not leave you hanging with no answer. The essence comes back to the bottom of the triangle with a solution that's the best of both worlds. That's the key. My rabbi used to say, the answer to a problem is to be a big supporter of both sides. So in our case, the Torah would not be Democrat or Republican, it would be independent. But as an independent, it would come down to make a decision that would be a better decision than you would come up with regularly. It would be the best of both worlds. So imagine like a triangle. Triangle has a left corner and a right corner. At the top, you will have the independent side, the essence, but the essence goes all the way up and all the way down. So you're up at the independent side of things, and then you travel back down to the bottom. If you meet someone like me, you're going to be able to travel to the top. If you don't meet someone like me, you'll just keep fighting with each other, left wing, right wing. You'll just be going into these arguments that lead nowhere and go nowhere, and nobody winds up changing their mind. But if you meet someone like me and you learn some Hasidic philosophy, you will wind up at the top, and you will be able to come up with new solutions that nobody's thought of that do more for the country than the average solutions would. So, well, once again, the question is the Torah right wing or left wing? So you might think it's right wing, that would be like your first thought, but not so fast, because one of the greatest Torah scholars was in our generation, the previous generation, Menachem Mendel Schneerson, and together with Sherry Chisholm, who was one of the first black congresswomen, they created food stamps. She gave credit to Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson for the idea of food stamps and WIC. So the Rebbe, in this case, was asking her why so much food is going to waste, and at the same time people are starving, and why don't you put those two things together? And even though she was on a committee that had nothing to do with what she wanted to do, but it had to do with food, and the Rebbe called her in and gave her this idea, and she created food stamps, which is a left-wing cause. The Torah is also very much into protection of the worker. So the laws against having a slave, which is not really a slave like you'd think of it in the terms of like the black slavery, it's actually, you treat the slave so well that it says that if you acquire one, you acquire a master, because he gets the best food, the best blanket, the best of everything in the house. So he has the run of the house. And if that's true for a slave, we know that it would be even more so true for a worker. The Torah would demand the best of working conditions, which is something that is usually gained through unions, which are a left-wing type of idea. You cannot raise, there are many laws in Maimonides about how to treat a worker, and you cannot raise their hours without raising their pay, which is something that Elon Musk ran afoul of. He actually fired half the employees, which he probably wasn't allowed to do. And then for the employees that were left, he raised their hours, made them come in earlier and leave later without increasing their pay. That is not allowed according to the Torah. That should not be able to happen. And that is a left-wing cause. Let's just make sure that we are recording here. Looks like we are. Okay, so the Torah also believes in forced redistribution of wealth, which is the Shemitah laws, the Teruma laws, the Peah laws, the Shikha laws, all these laws about things in your field that you need to leave over for the poor. You are required to give that charity, or you pay big penalties. So that's also a left-wing idea. The left wing also talks more about insider trading among Congress people. The right wing doesn't really talk about it so much, but Congress people are getting rich by making laws that enrich themselves, and then they buy the stocks that would be benefited from their new laws, and they're getting rich. And it's illegitimate, it's illegal, and it's against the Torah, it's against Judaism. It's a violation of what's fair, and they should be able to get rich off of the laws they make. That is considered bribery. And Visalef ene tzadikim, God is very clear, you cannot bribe anyone, and they are considered in the category of judges. They make the laws that will be enforced, and if they're being bribed by corporations, that is not allowed, and that is something that left-wingers talk about more than right-wingers, even though I'm sure right-wingers would agree that we need to get corporate money out of politics, which would require some real campaign finance reform. I am certain that if it were a Torah system, if Judaism were in charge, there would be some major campaign finance reform, and we would take the money issue away from the law-making issue. These two things do not go together. Making laws and getting money should not go together. So we need to figure out a way that it's fair, just enough money, everybody should have the same amount of money, possibly, and you'll be able to do your advertising and just get your message out. But it's absolutely not, should not be a way that one person has an advantage over another person because they had more money. That is not fair. That would not be allowed according to Judaism, I'm pretty sure. So, abortion is not considered murder. It is, if it was murder, then the abortion doctor would be liable for the death penalty, but he's not. It's because a fetus is not a life in the same sense as a life when it's born. In fact, up to 30 days, we don't even mourn the baby. So the baby is a life, but it's not a life to the same extent as it is when it's 30 days, and to the extent that when it's born, it's different. Abortion is allowed to save the mother's life, but it is not allowed, and the right wing is right about this, it is not allowed in the case of rape and incest. And that is because Judaism values life over suffering. So even though we need to do everything we can to emotionally and mentally help people who have been through a rape or have been through an incest situation, we absolutely cannot put their suffering ahead of what could be a life. So life goes in front of suffering, and we need to try to relieve the suffering as much as possible, because we are very concerned about the rape victim. We are very concerned about what's happening in a case of incest, but we do not allow that to take precedence over a person's life, a person that would become a live, active human being. It's not logical, and it's not godly. Now, where Judaism would be starkly right-wing would be gender ideology, which is very popular right now, teaching it to children. The Torah is clear. A man cannot wear a woman's clothing and vice versa. That is a sin. That's a clear sin. And to teach that sin to children and make the sin perpetuate throughout the generations is pure evil. And once you learn transgender ideology, it's very hard to unlearn it. So these kids are getting really brainwashed by this transgender ideology that is very confusing and evil. According to the Bible, not allowed whatsoever to do, and if it's not allowed to do, then you cannot teach someone else to do it, because you are accomplice in the sin. You're causing people to do that sin. So homosexuality is also a sin, and the Torah is very clear about that. It carries the death penalty. And as much as we want to sympathize with and help homosexuals with this very difficult challenge that they have, they cannot succumb to this temptation, just like anyone else cannot succumb to their evil inclination. We all have an evil inclination and things we want to do that we can't. And that's why we're here in this world, to fight that inclination and to become a greater person because of it. We can't do everything that we want to do, and that's a big difference between Judaism and liberalism, Judaism and American philosophy in general. We're not looking to fulfill all our dreams. We're not looking to be ourselves. We are looking to fulfill God's dreams and let God be himself. We want to sacrifice for God. We want to sacrifice our evil inclinations, sacrifice our animal soul and our animalistic instincts. And this is directly opposed to American philosophy, which is all about freedom and doing what you want and fulfilling all your dreams. Judaism doesn't care about your dreams. It cares about fulfilling God's dreams, which is to make a dwelling place for God in this world, rebuild the third holy temple, and turn darkness into light, and fulfill our mission, because we have a mission, and we do not have a mandate to just do whatever we want. That will actually not make us happy. But rejecting our evil inclination will make us happy. We'll become stronger that way. And if you continue to reject the thoughts that try to get you to sin, we hope that the sinful thoughts will stop bothering you, which happens in many cases, but may not happen in all cases. You may struggle your entire life with certain sinful thoughts, and that's okay. You need to understand that that's your mission in life, to turn darkness into light, to keep winning the battles every single day, every single minute. And we have this other case of the homosexual cake. You know, can a baker be forced to make a cake for a homosexual marriage wedding? And we have competing values here of freedom versus discrimination. And you have really two religions that are coming into conflict. You have the transgender religion, which is a set of beliefs that they don't question. And we have his religion, which is Christianity, which he does not question. And we'll assume for now, even though it's not totally true, that they can practice whatever religion that they wish. So if they want to practice their religion, that's fine, according to what we're saying now. And they can have a transgender wedding. But when the baker is forced to make a cake for that transgender wedding, you are forcing him to sin and to violate his own religion. And you cannot force someone to become a sinner, because they have a right to follow their religion and he has a right to follow his religion. And just like Abraham Lincoln said, you have a right to wave your hand all you want until you reach somebody else's nose. That's where your rights stop. And as soon as this person, if he is actually doing something that causes and celebrates the sin, you cannot make him do that. You cannot force someone to become a sinner and violate their own religion, because he has a right to practice his religion as well. You could say that you cannot discriminate against people coming into your restaurant, because gay people coming into your restaurant is not something where you're actually helping the sin happen. You're just having them in the restaurant. But if you're actually helping the sin happen and celebrating the sin, you cannot force one to do that, nor can you force someone to use your pronouns, because it is part of a sin. Using the wrong pronoun is part of a sin. It's leading to the sin of wearing the wrong clothing. So you cannot do that. You cannot force a religious person who follows Christianity or Judaism to use your pronoun. You can use your pronoun as much as you want, but you cannot force others to use your pronoun. And you should not get offended if other people didn't, because in this case, let's just say it's a free country and you're allowed to practice your religion and they're allowed to practice their religion. And when they come to conflict, you cannot force one to do something that violates their own religion. So here too, the transgender couple can have their wedding and he does not have to make the cake for the wedding. Nobody can force you to become a sinner. So you cannot just say, I'm following orders, when it comes to sin. If you do this, if you help the sin happen, the sin is upon you. That's part of your credits and debits of what you've done in your life. It is a debit for you if you help a sin happen. It's as if you did this in yourself. The issue comes up of Elon Musk and Twitter and Kanye West, and should he ban Nazis from the platform? Well, Nazism is a religion also, and it's a religion of hate and death. It's a religion of murder. So if someone says I'm a Nazi, they're basically saying I am like a suicide bomber, something that leads directly into violence. So it's not true that we should just give everyone free speech. We all know that certain speech can be dangerous. Speech can be even more dangerous than action. And if we let all speech go, people will be able to cry fire in a crowded theater, and then we'll have a bunch of dead people that were caused by evil speech. So a person who says he's a Nazi should not be able to spread his hate because that could cause huge amounts of damage. They should not be able to organize on the internet because the only way they can cause another Holocaust is if they organize. So we should stop that from happening whenever possible. This is like a muad. It's like the ox that is gored 3 times. We do not let an ox that is gored 3 times go ahead and live its life because we believe in freedom. If it's gored 3 times, and Nazism has proven that it gores, it's proven that it kills, then it's a philosophy that does not belong in the public discourse. It's outside the window of what we should allow as far as speech is concerned because it's dangerous speech. It's not true that if we let the speech go, people will realize it's bad and they'll reject it. No, not everybody will. It's not so that people will stop patronizing certain businesses that espouse these negative beliefs. It's not true. Those businesses will probably not go out of business. There's plenty of people who hate Jews that will go to that business and do business with them. So you do need to cancel Nazis, prevent them from organizing. Don't get too caught up in freedom of speech in Judaism because speech is dangerous. Freedom is not a Jewish value, really. Keeping people safe is a Jewish value. And when speech is not safe, if it causes damage, it causes crime, causes murder, it's like crying fire in a crowded room, and that's a speech that needs to be canceled, if canceling is what you call it. It's not really canceling, it's protecting people. In general, Judaism is not really into be yourself and fulfill all your dreams. Your goal is to fulfill God's dreams, not your dreams. And Hasidic philosophy would say that being yourself is being your animalistic self. When you say I, you're actually, for most people, if you're not a saint, you're talking about your animalistic self. And Judaism is about sacrificing your animalistic self. Just like Abraham went to sacrifice Isaac. The goal of life is to make other people happy, and that's how you will be the most happy. The goal is to sacrifice and be humble, not to fulfill your every desire. And really the former is what makes you happy in the long run. So I hope this all made sense and it clears up what Judaism has to say about the law. And I really hope that people will listen to this. I hope they'll have me on to their podcast to explain more about it because Judaism really has the answers. Judaism really has a beautiful system that could help clear up so much in this crazy world. And please contact me. I'll leave my email address below. And I hope to hear from you soon. God bless.